How you doing, everyone? Thanks so much for clicking on the video or coming over from Sarah's UK Graveyard. I've actually been on YouTube for a number of years now. My other channel, Sarah's UK Graveyard's all about history, coming through graveyards, talking about the people that have passed before us, etc. And I'm going to continue with that channel. You know, that's something I really enjoy doing. But at the same time, what I've noticed over the last year, no, I'd say 2 years actually, I've spent some time sort of thinking about getting older and what I need to do. Sorry, I've just run upstairs, so I'm a bit out of breath. So I spent some time sort of thinking about what do I need to do now, because, you know, like I'm going to be 50 in October. I can't quite believe that I'm 50. I'm not bothered that I'm 50. Well, not 50 yet, am I? But you know what I mean. I'm not bothered that the birthday's looming. Because you know what? Over my life, I've had friends who have died and gone, and you know, would never see 50. So actually, to get to it, it's a privilege. You know, like every year you get is a privilege, But I've started to think now, you know, like, what do I need to do? Because what I was doing before, just existing and doing the basics of looking after myself. But actually, I wasn't looking after myself. That's the point. You know, like for years and years and years, you know, like after 2019, and we know what happened then, you know, I just let myself get into a terrible state. In fact, I put on a great deal of weight. And I did that because I did it because I managed to achieve that weight because I just was drinking every single day. I was like eating whatever. I wasn't bothered about what I was eating. I wasn't moving much. I'm still not moving much. And that's something that I'm going to be addressing as the year goes on. And I want to show it on this channel because I want to document how things change. But just to go back to my previous point, when I realised what I'd done to myself and how far I'd let myself go, I decided that I had to do a few things about it. So the first thing that I did is I decided I wanted to stop drinking, and I tried stopping drinking, but the reality is I still enjoyed having, like, you know, tequila, or I enjoyed drinking a bottle of wine, and I'd do it every night. And was I an alcoholic? Maybe. In fact, I think just by definition that I drank every single day probably makes me an alcoholic, you know. So I tried to stop and I didn't stop. So I just kept carrying on. I'd stop for like a week and then I'd go right back on it. So what I did is I decided to get hypnotised, and I went to see a wonderful woman in Barnsley called Amanda. She's a hypnotist and she teaches hypnotism. And I had one session with her, and during the session or before the session, she said, "What is it you're looking to achieve?" And I said, "I want to stop drinking." And she said, "I can definitely help you with that, but you need to understand, once I've done this, you will not drink anymore." And I said, "That's fine. I don't want to drink anymore." So she did the hypnotism, and for a month I didn't drink. Like that night I went to Aldi, walked straight down the beer aisle, didn't even think about it. But then after a month passed, I was sat in the house one night, and all of a sudden I had this insatiable urge that I had to go and get a bottle of red wine. And I remember it now. I went to Aldi, I bought a bottle of, what's it called, that Italian wine, begins with a B, Barolo. Got a bottle of that, and then I started drinking again. But the weirdest thing was, about a week or 2 weeks after that, I was just walking up the stairs, and I just thought to myself, I'm going to stop. That's it, I'm stopping. And literally since that day, I have not, I would say I've thought about alcohol. I haven't thought about alcohol in terms of I want a drink. I haven't. Literally, it was just like someone flicked a switch. And all of that, what Amanda said to me, "Sarah, if I do this, you will never want to drink again." Where I thought it hadn't worked, it actually had. Maybe something else needed to happen. I don't know. Maybe something had to switch in my mind. I don't know. But what happened was, when I stopped drinking, a lot of things sort of... I had to deal with a lot of I lost weight, just naturally because I wasn't taking in all the calories that I were from the alcohol, and also I wasn't eating a lot of the crap that I'd previously eaten. I actually I didn't add this, but I did get hypnotized for eating as well, because I thought, great, it works, I love it for eating now. And one of the things that she suggested to me about the eating was that I would focus on eating things that were good for me, and I wouldn't eat crap. And I can say, like, I don't eat, like, before I would have eaten McDonald's or KFC. Like, now I don't. Like, I just, I'm not saying that those foods are bad. I don't think they're great for you. I just don't think that any processed food is good for you. I don't think it is. But I think like that because of the hypnotism. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so the knock-on effect of that is over the last 2 years or so, I've lost 3.5 stone in weight, but I've not started drinking again, and I've not started eating crap again, but I haven't been focused on it as much as I would like to. And I don't know if it's just my hypnotism kicking back in or whatever it is, but there's like this voice at the back of my mind all of the time that's you can be doing more, you can be doing more, you can be doing more. And I do think it's something to do with that hypnotism, because it wasn't about losing weight, it was just about having a better lifestyle, thinking about what you're doing and why you're doing it. So, like, some of the things that I've done, for instance, I don't eat processed food. In fact, no, that's a lie. I will eat some, but like, I can't remember the last time I had a McDonald's. In fact, yeah, I can remember the last time I had McDonald's. I do have it every now and again, but it's like a very rare occasion. And the only reason why I had it on this particular occasion was because I was in Sharm el Sheikh, and it was about 18 months ago, and I was with my Auntie Stella. And she hadn't eaten because the hotel we was in, the food was... I was all right with it, but she really didn't like it. Funnily enough, she's in Sharm at the moment. She's having a great time in that hotel, and everything's improved, and it's all good. And it's a good hotel, but it's notorious for being bad, the food in the hotels over there. It just is what it is. Now it's lovely, apparently. She says she got some really nice meals, but on this particular occasion, she'd not eaten much, and she wanted a McDonald's, and I went and had a McDonald's with her because I thought, it's not fair. She needs... I didn't want her to go and eat on her own, is what I'm saying. So that was a time when I overrode it. But for the majority, I just don't eat stuff like that. And I won't eat, like, bread from the supermarket. I cook my own bread. Like, literally, I won't... I will eat it. Like, I stayed at Stella's, and she had Warburtons in cupboard, and I had some of that. But I think what I'm trying to say is I have this mentality where if I'm in my own home and I've got the means to, I'll just make my own food, and that's what I do. But it's not enough, and I definitely don't want to be thin. I don't want to be skinny. I just want to be... I want my body to be strong. Excuse me. I'd definitely like some of the bumps removing that I've got. Like belly. I don't think I want my belly to go all the way. I quite like having a belly, but it could definitely be smaller, and I'd like to do that. I'd like to improve my posture because I feel like I'm getting a bit of a dowager's hump on the back, and that comes from years and years of sitting like this on a computer. So that definitely needs to be fixed. And there's just a whole host of other things. And, I don't want... years ago I used to go and do aerobics and stuff like that. And I'm sure I could go and do it now. But reality is I just don't want to do that. And I don't want to lift weights. And I don't want to do this. And I don't want to do that. So I've decided I'm going to teach myself... and I mentioned this in a video that I did the other night. A lot of this might be similar for those who watched that video that I did on the Sarah's UK Graveyard channel. But... I'm going to teach myself yoga. I've already started reading the book, and I've learned about different types of yoga and where it came from and why people practice. And I've started to learn about what to think about in terms of, like your stance, posture and all of that, and the very basics. And I am just going to read through. And then I think tomorrow I'm probably going to try and practice a little bit. And it is a practice. And, it's yoga is something that you just... constantly evolving with and getting better at. And I think yoga would be a good a really good thing for me to focus on, just because it's great for the body, it's great for the mind, it's easy on the joints. I think overall it's going to be good, and it'll help tone my body. It's not gonna, it's not gonna weigh down on my looks, and I'll get into that, what I mean, in a minute. I think it's just going to be all over good. So one of the things that I'm going to be showing on the channel is I'm going to be showing how I practice, from the start, which will be really embarrassing for me to put up on the channel, but I will put it up because I firmly believe over the next few months I'm going to get better and better and better, and I think it'd be really good to be able to see that transformation and see how it happens. So I'm going to be doing that. So we're going to be looking at my yoga transformation. I've got a book coming on face yoga, and that's where we get into. So the one thing that I'm a bit scared about as I get older and get into this next decade is aging. I think up until now, I think I've been really lucky. Clearly, and I can, you can obviously tell my age, but I think my skin's really good. I've got no complaints really, other than, yes, I'm seeing some jowls. Yes, I'm seeing this, which everyone gets. I mean, I could go and get filler in there, but I really don't want filler in my face. That's the other thing as well. I think I'd prefer to have a facelift rather than have more filler in my face. And that's only because my face is fat enough. You know what I mean? That's the thing. But I don't know. I mean, as I start doing the yoga, my face starts to slim down naturally. Maybe I can then afford to go and get some filler. But at the moment, definitely not. Definitely not. So that's that. So essentially, the channel, I don't know what the channel's going to be, and I don't know what's going to happen. I know I'm going to be looking into various different things. We're going to be looking at supplements. We're going to be looking at, HRT, hormone replacement therapy for women who are premenopausal, menopausal. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about a whole host of things and things that I'm doing and what I'm thinking about. And I'm also going to be looking at career. So currently I do have a job, and that job's going okay at the moment. But I think ultimately, I feel after my redundancy, which is something that I've had to deal with this year, and I think I've done all right with it. I mean, I was dealt a situation where my job was taken away from me, and don't get me wrong, my previous employer definitely looked after me, and I came away with a good amount of money. I'd worked for them for nearly 5 years, so it wasn't a ridiculous amount of money, but it was okay, you know what I mean? And that money's gone now. There's a little bit left, but more or less it's more or less gone. And I've got to start thinking now, what am I going to do to make some more money? Because there's things that I want to do. I was married this year. My husband's Egyptian, and we want to sort of split our time between here and Egypt. We don't want to be living here 100% of the time in the years to come. We don't want to be living in Egypt 100% of the time. We want best of both worlds. So we've got our place here, but being the house. But we also want a place in Luxor. He wants to build somewhere. I would much prefer to buy an old house and do it up. So we're still sort of talking about that. But either way, the money needs to come from somewhere if we're going to do that. Also, as I get into, and my job will provide that, by the way. There's no problem. But in this next decade, I want to do something for myself. Is what I want to do. I want to do something for myself, and that doesn't have to be full time. It doesn't even have to be my main job. Like I say, I've got a job. What I need though is I need something for myself. I need something. One of the things that I got from my previous job was all about continual personal development, CPD. It's a thing at the moment. You may have heard of it, you may not have heard of it. It might just be in education sectors. I'm not too sure, but continual personal development is something that's really important. And I think when you stop learning, and that's part of the reason why I've taken on learning the yoga, and I'm going to talk about my career move now. But for years and years and years, I've always thought, what do I want to do? And when I say no, maybe the last 2 years, I've always thought, what do I want to do? And I had my previous job, which I absolutely loved, and I said I'd never leave it. But always in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, but what if I do? So funeral celebrancy is something that I've always, not always, but something that I've started thinking about in recent times. And I think I would be good at it. I think it will definitely be nerve-wracking for me, even for me, you know. I'm definitely not a shy person. I think the nerves would come from making sure that I'm doing the best job for the people there. Like, I'm talking to you now on the camera, and you know, I know what I want to say. Well, actually, I don't know what I want to say. I've not got a script for this. I'm just talking. I think the problem lies in when I've got a script. Like, when I think about the first funeral that I'm going to be doing, and I am undertaking the training course at the moment, I'm not going to do any work today, but tomorrow, which is Sunday, I'm going to be spending a couple of hours starting Unit 2, finishing Unit 1 and starting Unit 2, on my way to learn how to be a celebrant. And I think about that first funeral and I think, what if I talk too fast? What if I don't, you know, keep the times that I need to be keeping? What if this? What if that? But then I also think, well, you know what if it's an absolute smash? You know, I think the other thing that I've got to remember as well is, you know, there's going to be challenges to everything. And this is going to be really challenging for me, because with all my other career moves and jobs that I've had, and I've done many things over the years, and I'm certainly not scared about trying new things. You know, during COVID-19, I sold my house, moved up to Barnsley. So I sold my house in Oldham, moved up to Barnsley, and I changed my career, you know, during that trying time. And I think I was 44, 45, something like that at that time. So, no, 43. But anyway, it doesn't matter, but whatever. So, yeah. The crux of it is, everybody, is I've started this channel because my Service UK Graveyard channel, there will be things that I say about on that channel, but it will be specific to that side of my interests. You know, I'm still very much interested in graveyards. I'm still interested in local history. I'm still interested in all of those things. This channel is basically just an addition to that. It's an opportunity for me to talk about other things to people who are interested in hearing about it, because, you know, the other thing is, you know, my other channel, the greater percentage of the channel is men. It's more men than it is women. And while men might find this topic interesting, you know, some people might just want to watch it because it's me rambling on, I don't know, but I think I'd probably end up doing the red in if I'm like talking about this, that and the other. The other thing that I'm going to be doing this year, potentially, just going back to what I was saying about this situation down here, I've talked about this on Sarah's UK Graveyard, but I think I'm probably going to end up having a lower facelift, and that's because of this situation. The jowls, I'm not too bothered about them, because, you know, you can get filler, you can get bits and pieces, you can deal with it. But this is a problem. This neck situation is a problem, and that comes from having a lot of weight around here and then losing it. But obviously I'm not as young as I used to be, so the skin hasn't necessarily gone back. So from the front, sometimes, I mean, it could have been there for a while, I don't know, but like, looking from the front, it might not seem that bad, but then when I look, because I'll get a camera and I'll take a picture and I'll look at it and I think, oh no, like, is that really what it is? And I've had ultrasound treatment on it. It hasn't done anything. They said it would, it hasn't. There really isn't. I don't want to get any filler in it because I don't want to put a big bleeding, you know, double chin back. I've still got some of it, as you can see when I do that, but not a lot. So there's a lot going on. The other thing is this: there's got to be some money coming to get all these things done. You know, facelifts don't come cheap. Lower face, neck, don't come cheap. And then it's a case of, what do I have? Do I just have like a traditional facelift, or do I have a deep plane facelift? Do I need a deep plane? You know, like, I really don't know. Even just to go and see the surgeon, it's going to cost me about £250. So this is going to be a commitment, and something that I'm definitely going to be exploring on this channel and other things as we go. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say for my first video on on this channel, which I still haven't named yet, but probably will have by, well, I'll have to by the time I release this video. And that's it, everybody. So, bit of a waffling video, but just a quick intro as to what I'm thinking, why I'm doing. Happy to definitely hear any suggestions that anybody's got about many of the things that I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about, as I said, supplements. There's a few supplements that I'm trying at the moment. One of them that I'm currently on at the moment, oh my God, last night I had the best night's sleep. I mean, I'm talking like knockout sleep, and I woke up this morning and felt absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you something else as well. When I woke up this morning, I have a problem underneath my eye here with like swelling. It's just under my left eye. This is my left eye that I'm pointing at. And I have swelling that comes up. Honest to God, I took this supplement, which is here. And it's got, like this morning when I woke up, I was like fresh. I felt my face was a lot fresher. I don't know. It was crazy. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to be doing another video for the channel. I'm going to be doing a full day of what I currently do tomorrow. We're going to be doing the first practice of yoga. I'll show you my supplements that I'm going to be taking. I will show you my morning routine. There's stuff that I already do, but I'm going to add an additional to tomorrow. And actually, the ingredient for that is currently in the freezer. So you'll see that in the morning. And what I want to do really for the whole thing of this, I just want to see from where I'm at right now at 49, where am I going to be in a year's time when I'm almost 51. I want to see how I evolve, and I suppose this channel really is like a commitment to that, because people are going to be looking for, you know, what happens, how it happens. Is she going to be able to achieve, you know, am I going to be able to achieve what I set out to do? So I suppose only time will tell, won't it? But I suppose I just have to start doing and see where we go. So thanks for watching this first video, everybody. As I said, if you come from Sarah's UK Graveyard, that channel isn't going anywhere. There'll still be videos on that channel. You probably won't even notice any difference. This is just going to be an addition to that. If you could subscribe to the channel, I would definitely appreciate it. I'm looking to grow this channel significantly, if possible. Any money that the channel earns will go into the facelift, you know, the facelift or the treatment thingamajig. And I'll try it for you, everybody. I'll try it, and you can just see how it works out for me. And then perhaps if you think it works for me, then perhaps you might want to do it for yourself. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.